This is a demonstration of a concept that I'm calling multiple run operations. This screen here is my normal train operations routines. And as I've shown in previous videos, and how I can, select a routine to run and then confirm it, and then it would run that operation. You have some of them that are endless, like this run mainline train, and any of these alternating run routines will run endlessly until another operation is selected or a hard alarm condition occurs. So I had the idea, I said, but you could only have like one running at a time, and then you could select the next one to run, and then it would send the end request and then hand off to the operation selected. But I thought it would be nice to actually come up with the idea of having a recipe of operations, which I've now made into this screen. What this will allow me to do is put up to eight operations in sequence by selecting them. This column here will select the train operation that I want to run. And I did make a little help screen. I mean, the text is going to be kind of small. These are the different train operations, 1 through 14. I only have 10 defined. I'm sure eventually I'll think of something for the other three. So, back to this one. So what you do is I could select like what different operations, and then it'll show up here in text. So put the unit in automatic mode. But like the other operations, you have to select it to choose it, which if you accidentally press, it just shows this little indicator saying selected, but it's not actually confirmed. Once it's confirmed, I'll get the little green light over here, and then now this is operating. And what this will let me do is choose different operations. Like, say, for example, I want to run the mainline train, which is operation 1. Now, what I have to tell the multiple operations to do is how many cycles, basically how many complete laps around the layout I wanted to do. That's actually in the third column, and in this case, I'm going to select 5 laps. The second column is laps for alternating routines, which I'll show here. So right now, the first operation set is run mainline train 5 times around the layout. So now what I'm going to do is say for the second operation, I'm going to select the main inside alternating run, which is operation 3. I'm going to tell it I want 3 laps of each train around the layout before switching for a total of 2 times. So that is going to, like, each train is going to run around the layout 3 times, switch, and then do that completely 2 more times. So then, say, for example, in the next operation, I'm going to say, okay, well, let me do the main and team. Let me run those 2 trains. In this case, I'm going to say, oh, well, I'm going to make them do 4 laps, 3 times cycles. Now, say for an example, next routine, I'm going to stop the train. Now, with the stop mainline train, I would have to choose the area that I want to stop the train, which I have defined in here on the help screen. Like I said, it's kind of a tight text, but you have to choose what section of the track do you want to stop the train, which is shown right here. That is going to be entered into the lap count here. So I want to stop the mainline train. If I want to choose, say, the Thruway West, that's selection number 1. The cycle count isn't used because it's not an endless routine. So now that is selected. Now we'll choose another non-endless routine. We're going to be the side and team interchange. This will physically switch the trains between the side and the team track. You don't need to enter any laps or cycles because it's a single operation. It does its operation, physically switches the trains, and ends. Now, once this is done, you have the choice of either run this recipe once, or if I toggle this button, I can tell it I want to run it continuously. So when it ends, like, of course, I don't have 6, 7, and 8 defined. So when it ends, when operation number 5 is finished, it's going to loop back to operation 1 and just keep doing this in an endless fashion until I press the stop button or I choose another single run operation. Now when I go to run it, now when I'm satisfied with everything I want, I would run it. And if there's, say, okay, I want to just wipe everything out, I can clear all the data right here. And just because I've been testing this program, I have a diagnostic screen, which has been helpful in debugging this program because it is a rather ambitious program. So anyway, when you go to run it, it's going to do some checks first. It's going to check all this data to make sure that it complies with the operation. And then green light will come on. The first operation is started, which is simply the run mainline train. And you can hear in the background, the train on the main line is now running. And it's going to make 5 runs around the track, and then it's going to hand off to the next operation. But the nice thing is, you can go back to the single screen. You'll see now I've changed this to where when the multi-run is running it, it'll show this operation running as multi-run. And I've now added cycle counts, which normally wouldn't be shown for the single operation because it's just going to run it continuously. But this multi-run, I want to set a limit in how many times this operation is going to run. So these will be displayed only when the multi-run is in control. Like, say, for example, if I look at another screen like the maiden side alternating run, it just shows the usual lap counts like it would normally do, but underneath here will show the cycle counts, but it won't show this until this routine's actually running, because right now it's not running. It's the next one to run. So we go back. You know, when this operation starts up, those will show. I'm not going to go through, like, let this thing run, because this, to run through all these cycles will take a while, but, yeah, sorry about that. I'm not going to show all this just because it would take a considerable amount of time. I mean, there is still a few bugs with this program. I'm still working on it, but it looks like for the most part it's working pretty good. This way I could just set up a recipe of operations and it'll just let it run. Either, like I said, either one time and then this whole routine will end, or continuously, and it'll just keep looping back and forth to these operations until either I select a single operation to run or a hard alarm occurs. So this basically is going to be the last routine I'm writing for now before I transfer this project to the around the wall layout. Again, who knows, I might think of something for routines 11 to 14. That's why I left them open. So, until next time.